Spencer's gun, really the rifle at first and then the carbines, were used by Union troops during the American Civil War. And really, it was the better mousetrap.
Christopher Miner Spencer is a really interesting guy. He had a highly inventive mind, and this was something that was evident very early on. There's an anecdote of him working on his grandfather's farm. His grandfather, Josiah Hollister, was an artificier in the Continental Army and did work for General Washington, and brought home his service musket with him, which was still on the farm when young Spencer was working there. And the anecdote goes that when Christopher Spencer looked at his grandfather's musket, he decided that it needed to be improved upon. And so he took it upon himself to cut down the barrel to make it shorter and handier. And that presaged some of the later thinking that went into his Model 1860 Spencer carbine.
Spencer went to work for a textile company for a while, a silk making firm as a matter of fact. And but in the meantime, while he was there, he was fooling around with basically inventing his repeating rifle. So he made some prototypes. They actually built them at this silk manufacturer. Basically, what the gun was, and it's in its final form, lever action. It loaded the ammunition through the butt. It was basically a tube that went down through the butt of the gun. It had a hammer and a lever. So that you put the hammer on half cock, load your cartridges, cock it, and a cartridge would be forced forward over a little dropping ramp, and when you closed it, it would chamber the round perfectly. You fired it, it extracted it, popped it out, you cocked it, half cock again, loaded it again. You could do this 7 times. It was an amazing achievement for a gun of that period.
The Spencer rifle is one of the cleanest looking and efficient carbines that was used during the war between the states or the American Civil War, depending on which side of the Mason-Dixon you're on. It's a gun that's got a lot of character to it and has a number of firsts under its moniker to be proud of. It's a rimfire, self-contained metallic cartridge carbine that was designed in 1860 by Christopher Spencer. About 200,000 of them were made during the Civil War.
What was interesting is there's an anecdote that people relate about the Spencer that involves President Abraham Lincoln. And what a lot of people don't realize is Lincoln was aware of these guns before Spencer and Lincoln ever corresponded. But he didn't have a very favorable opinion of them because all he had heard was from some Naval Department officials that these guns didn't work very well, and he had seen some evidence that they, weren't really as reliable as he thought something of this design ought to be. And Spencer took it upon himself to address these rumors, to address these issues. And so that led to this meeting between Lincoln and Spencer outside of the White House on what is now today the National Mall, where Abraham Lincoln actually fires shots from a Model 1860 Spencer at a wooden target board that's placed some 40 yards away. And Lincoln came away duly impressed with the design and wanted to see this actually enter service. And eventually it did. And ultimately, by 1864, the Spencer was the official carbine of the U.S. Cavalry. And by war's end, it was the second most numerous cavalry carbine in service, just next to the Sharps, which was the most popular and numerous.
After the Civil War, the government had a ton of these things on hand, so they decided they reduced the caliber to .52-50, and then they put what's called a Stabler cutoff, which was basically just a little block on the lever, so that the gun could only be fired single shot. That just warms the cockles of the penurious ordnance types hearts. So those were issued for a while to the U.S. military, and then they were finally superseded by the the 45-70. Spencer also made sporting rifles and sporting carbines in various calibers. But basically, after the Civil War, interest in the gun kind of petered out. Plus, lots of other good repeaters came up.